self-realization, simplified, getting rid of all of the I ams. I am this, I am that, I am this, I am that, and realizing I am. And an interesting analogy came to me as we're out here in the desert and we're surrounded by cholla cactus. And if you know anything about cholla cactus, it's a beautiful cactus, and it is just amazing to look at. And from a distance, it looks cuddly and soft and beautiful. But if you ever have a run-in with cholla cactus, it has a particular aspect to itself, which is that it has very, very sharp needles. And at the end of those needles are little barbs. So it takes very little pressure. You can just barely touch it. And you'll get a bunch of these needles into your skin, and it clings to you and pulls away. It actually goes by a name here in Arizona, at least, which is jumping cactus. And the reason that it's called jumping cactus, because it seems like it jumps onto you. It jumps onto your clothes, it jumps into your skin, because it barely hangs on. The actual little cacti, whatever that arm is or whatever, as soon as it connects to something, it breaks off very, very easily. And then you're stuck with this thing that will stick to your skin or your clothes, and then it becomes very difficult to get it out. It got me to ponder the idea that that's how my life unfolded, was like jumping cactus. When I was born me. I was born I am. I am new to this world. And then I started to compare myself to other people, the way society works, what it was to be a certain kind of person within this structure that was already created for me. And I started making an identity of who I thought I was. And along this path, I ran into prickly moments, let's call them, sharp edges in reality, however you want to put that, painful experiences in my life. And what I couldn't realize was that it was like me running into these prickly aspects, like the cholla cactus, and they clung to me, and they clung to the story of what I thought I was. And it's especially large when we run into these prickly times in life, these events that we feel like we've been wronged, or this shouldn't have happened to me, that we begin to make stories around who we think we are in relation to that. And oftentimes the clinging is to the resentment and to like, this shouldn't have happened to somebody like me. And this manifests, and we can see this manifest in people finding their trauma, and then it becomes an identity. And it became my identity. I am this. I am broken. I require healing. And then it's just like hitting more cholla cactus, but we don't realize it's in us, and we're still creating our now with all of this baggage, all of these cholla cactus stuck and clung to us. And in self-realization, in coming to who I am truly, which is not the conclusions that I've created with the agreements relative to the outside world, relative to those prickly moments that I had in my mind. Those are all just mind construction. That's that busy mind that constantly was trying to calibrate myself to everything else. What I didn't realize was that I was carrying these cholla cactuses, and then I talked about them and I made them part of my now. It was the thing that I wanted to share with people is, I am this, I am this. I've concluded that I'm this without realizing that it was just another identity. That it was the culmination of having all of these pricklies stuck to me. And what we recognize on a spiritual path or shadow work or all these different kinds of spiritual pointings to is that oftentimes we think it's work, that we are liberating ourselves. I need to heal. I need to get rid of my trauma. But the most powerful, I would say a more powerful way to look at that is that the I am, without anything existing beyond that, exists right now. If you're watching this video, the I am lives within you. You carry that all of the time. This reality contains prickly things, prickly events in our lives. And I still experience the prickliness. It doesn't go away. That's a feature of this experience. In fact, literally, I have experienced cholla cactus, the actual spines going into my skin. But what's different is they don't cling. I don't carry that baggage into the future, clinging to who I think I am. And you can do the same. So what I would offer in perspective to anyone's journey is the idea that the journey doesn't have to be a trudge. It doesn't, you may recognize that these cholla cactus, you're dragging them into your now. And sometimes we start to feel the prickliness of this resistance. And we feel an obligation, or we feel compelled to confront those things. Everything I ever needed came back to me to confront it. And there were times where I made big stories about my ability and my courage to go into those things. But what I would offer now is the idea of grace. As we experience wanting to be and to experience presence, the I am, the biggest version of ourselves, that if we refocus the way that we perceive things, we perceive the journey. the cholla cactus can come off of us with ease, and understanding that this ease is available because the great I am that lives within you. I like to say, I'm me. I'm me. Whatever this is, I'm me. And you are you. That great I am is bigger than the conclusions that you can come up with as to explain your journey. To know and to tap into that great I am, this bigger version of yourself that we can't see when we are covered with cholla cactus. It's available. No matter how much cholla cactus you feel as if you're carrying into your now, there's something much larger with much bigger perspective than our minds can come to conclusions about. I can recognize how my mind really wanted to figure it all out by looking at the outside world, the philosophies, the religions, the spiritual concepts. But when it came down to what it actually came down to was just recognizing this I am was much bigger than what my mind, my crazy mind, was trying to come to conclusions on. Having all of these stories, and that's what it is stories that follow us into the now on who we think we are. Just a conglomeration. But we can release these stories and experience this reality, this experience of being human without clinging to conclusions. Grace is a sensation. And if I walk next to a cholla cactus, get a little too close, and it sticks to me, that prickliness, we'll feel it. But having faith in that moment, in these prickly times, that grace does exist. The I am can see that event from a bigger perspective than the mind can come up with. Moving through life with grace. I know the I am that you are, and I know it exists in your world. So let's do this. Have a beautiful day.